Hey, welcome back to Mocktails with Marina. I'm your host, Marina, and today I just can't believe that I'm recording this a couple hours before midnight, and I'm going to be posting this probably within minutes of the new year. And can you believe it? We've reached the final episode of 2024. What a year it's been. For me, for the podcast, for our clients, and for the entire non-alc industry. Today's episode is going to be very special. We're going to be reflecting on the biggest highlights and lessons from this past year while also looking ahead to 2025. So grab your favorite non-alc drink and settle in because I'm about to take you on a journey through the numbers, stories, trends, and opportunities that define where we've been and where we're going. First, let's talk about the industry. So the non-alc beverage market alone reached an incredible $1.3 trillion in 2024. That is trillion with a T. And guess what? Experts are projecting that this number is looking to double by 2035. That's a compound annual growth rate of around 7.2% for the next decade. So if you needed confirmation that you're in the right place at the right time, that there's plenty of money to go around, let this be your sign. There is so much demand and not enough supply. Not only is that the case from the options side of things, like the actual beverages themselves, but this also includes the environments that these beverages are being consumed in, right? Yes, some bars and restaurants are updating and adapting to having somewhat adequate menu with the non-alc variety, but they're not going as hard as they absolutely should be. Specifically, functional beverages are leading the charge here. So drinks that are infused with nootropics, adaptogens, prebiotics, and more. People are craving drinks that do more than just quench thirst. They're looking for something that nourishes their body, mind, and soul. So all of that being said, and again, you can go ahead and listen to the other 49 episodes to really sink in what was going on in the non-alc space in 2024. So there's plenty of stuff to go look back at. So I want to spend some time looking into the data that we specifically got out of 2024. Okay, so I want to give you guys some perspective on what it's like to be a consultant and an educator in this space. And what it's like to also do that while hosting a podcast. So this year we released 50 episodes. That's just about one every week. There's only a couple weeks we missed. We welcomed 26 amazing guests, including owners, founders, and C-suite operators from all corners of the non-alc space. These guests represented beverage brands, kava bars, bottle shops, event planning, community organizing, Kavatending, mixology, wellness coaching, and so much more. What I love most about these stories is how diverse they really are. Some of our guests bootstrapped their ventures. Others secured angel investors or external funding. One guest even got a publishing deal from an Instagram DM. No matter how they started, they're all proof that there's no one single right way to succeed in this industry. And to our listeners, all 2,500 or more of you, thank you for tuning in week after week. At least, 2,500 at this time. Your support, your messages, your questions, they keep me going. I started this podcast to create a space for meaningful conversations, and it's grown into something even more impactful than I could have ever imagined. So here's to you, boss. Now, let's shift gears for a sec and talk about the work we've done specifically with the consultation and education and design firm, The Modern Mocktail. So in 2024, we worked very closely with 31 active clients. So this means there were 31 people who were in our one-on-one retainers or requested a one-on-one service or were in a program that had a lot of one-on-one attention. But then overall, we served 295 customers across 38 states and 5 different countries. So that was really cool. And customers are defined as people who purchased our other products that may not have included that one-on-one touch support. That wasn't as in depth as a one-on-one relationship, basically. In this time, we had absolutely 0 refunds. Yes, you heard that right, 0 refunds. And that tells me that we're not just meeting expectations, but we are exceeding them. All of our conversion rates are above not only industry standard, although industry standard doesn't mean much right now because the industry is booming. It's more of, even if you look across consulting in general, education in general, we do have a higher rate, almost double, which is really great, which means our projected growth for 2025 is absolutely insane. It's honestly a life-changing journey that we're on here. And by the way, the reason I'm telling you all of this stuff, this is not us to toot our horns and to make us seem cool in any way, shape, or form. I'm sharing the information basically to give you not only a behind-the-scenes look at us. I very much believe in transparency, but the amount of information, I'm literally about to let you know how many meetings that we were in, how many hours of information and what that equates to. And this is some pretty heavy stuff. This is pretty heavy information. So I just wanted to show you what type of opportunities are out there for you, because this is what we've accomplished in 1 year. And the only tools that we use, so we use Instagram, we use Notion, we use Google, we use Zoom, we use a couple other AIs like MeetGeek, ChatGPT, of course. And really, honestly, our day-to-day expenses are under, last I calculated, I think it was under $700 a month. And when it comes to our ad budget for 2024, we spent about $4,000 on ads. We plan on increasing that quite a bit in 2025. So get ready and get used to our ads. They will all be super helpful. Our goal is to just reach as many people who need us as possible. But we spent all of this year doing all of the market research. Market research means that you're just doing as much as you need to be statistically relevant so that you can then take that data, analyze it, and then make a strategy that makes the most amount of sense, right? So we spent this year creating everything with all of our beta clients and taking all of our decade plus experience. We're at 14 years at this point. So we were taking all of those years of information and putting them into quite a lot of pieces of content, whether that was in programs. We launched and wrote 2 functional mixology guides, 5 additional industry guides, and 1 massive 188-page workbook. So in total, that's nearly 400 pages written. We have 4 programs. There are over 200 videos in all of them altogether. When we took a look at our calendar and we wanted to see how we spent our time, I spent 381 verified hours in meetings, which, fun fact, is the equivalent of reading 127 average length books or nearly 2 months of full-time work. I spent 161 hours teaching across 85 different group events that were all live. And that was all just our like live stuff. That was separate from the recordings. That was separate from the making of all of those workbooks and worksheets. That was separate from time spent with one-on-one clients. So we had a very full year. We spent a lot of time talking to a lot of people. And when I was trying to quantify, like, what does 381 hours mean? Like, what does that look like in something that I can measure, and not just in 24-hour days, because I'm not awake in that many days. So it is equivalent to one full day of the work week. So 1/5 of my clocked in hours, essentially. Not that I'm clocked in, I'm an entrepreneur. But if I was spending, based on a 40-hour work week, that would be one full day talking to people nonstop. Whether that's teaching, updating, collaborating, strategizing, trying to figure out what, problem solving, trying to figure out what we could do to, strategize out of any sort of hole that we're in. So all of this being said, while yes, there was a lot of time invested, and we did so in a way that was like, we bootstrapped a lot of stuff. Like, we wanted to bootstrap. Not only did we want to bootstrap because of a lot of other, like, our entire life equation, but we really wanted to have that experience to be able to consult on it firsthand, because you can always get funding later on in your business, but you can only bootstrap once. Like, you can only bootstrap in the beginning once. Like, there's only one beginning to the story, right? So we really wanted to bootstrap in the beginning, like, for the adventure of it. Like, we purposely didn't want to achieve outside funding. So we did a lot of different fun things. Like, we moved out so we have multiple residences, right? Like, we have our main place where our business is located. Like, that's our main home. And then we have another home where we go and spend a lot of our time, because we share our space with our family. And what we mean by that is we figured out a way to be able to make our living expenses all combine and only be less than $1,000 a month, to be able to get our, like, very, very basics paid for. That's none of the other things that are going on in life, right? But the reason I mention this is because on average, people in, for example, Phoenix are spending $2,000 a month just on rent. So if you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to do things, one of the best things you can do is lower your expenses as much as possible. So we decided to take a fully 100% virtual route, where even if we have local clients, because we have plenty of local clients, we make sure all of our business is virtual, and it's just a treat if we happen to come into the shop. Like, it's not expected. It's just like a treat thing. Like, it's not... And if it is something that's planned, like, that's part of a whole package for us to come in. But the standard is that everything is done on Zoom so that we could be anywhere. So in order to do that, we cut down on a lot of expenses, and then we bootstrapped our way in order to create this beautiful full vision. Now that we have confirmed that our ad strategy has been all green lights, now we can officially put the big ad spending in 2025. So that's something super exciting that we're looking forward to. And again, why am I telling you this much detail? Because there are plenty of other people out there, and I know that many of our listeners are interested in, what does it take to actually start a business? Like, what legitimately, lifestyle wise, what changes to be an entrepreneur? And then not even just to be an entrepreneur, but how do you do so in a way that doesn't suck the lifestyle joy out, right? Like, it's one thing to own a business, but I don't want to be someone who relates to the memes of, oh, I I quit my job and started a business so that I could work any hours I want, and joke's on me, I'm working all the time. Like, I don't relate to those memes. Like, we didn't build our business to have to work like that. Like, we don't relate to hustle culture. We don't subscribe to it. We don't put it on a pedestal. We work some weeks we'll work more than 40 hours a week, but that's only because we're like really passionate and we're having like really a lot of fun with what we're doing. But if we're not in that season, or we're not feeling the energy, or we just want to do a bare minimum, or we're traveling and hanging out with family, then of course we're not going to put in that full 40. So we have that flexibility to be able to ebb and flow with our passion and how much energy that we have. We don't get stuck to a schedule. And even then, like, yes, I'm in meetings quite a bit, but even then, like, okay, so 7 hours a week, I'm on average in meetings 7 hours out of 24 times 7, right? So that's a lot of flexibility. That's a lot of, a lot of life can happen around that time. And that's the beauty of doing something like this. And even if you're someone who has a fully established business and you're like, yeah, right, girl, like, what do you have that I got all these other things going on. Like, what are you talking about? It's all about building systems intentionally, and then they take time to set up. Like, there's no quick fix for anything. If you built your business already and you built it around chaos and you built it in a way that forces you to do certain tasks and other people haven't been outsourced to do them yet, then that's actually an operations design problem, and not a staple, you have to be this way. Like, even if you run a bar, even if you run a bottle shop, even if I don't care what kind of business you run, I don't care. Challenge me on this. Like, truly, come at me if you feel any type of way, because I truly believe that anybody can build a business that is not nearly as, like, there are ways, if you are the owner, to write yourself out of the day-to-day. Like, you don't have to be in the trenches making things more difficult on yourself and your team than necessary. Like, yes, there is something admirable for someone who is in touch with their staff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be in touch with your staff. You should be, but that is not the same thing as being behind the bar or doing tasks that other people should be doing. Yes, you should be a master of all of the things in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying outsource your brilliance, but what I am saying is there are certain tasks that, like, truly, if you want to grow in this lifetime and you want to go beyond where you're at right now, like, it is someone else's turn to clean the toilets. It is someone else's turn to be behind the bar. If you are doing that for 20, 40 years in a row, like, cool, humble, humility, whatever. But like, if that's your dream to just do the thing there forever, like, I am not trying to poo-poo on the thing that you love. Like, I'm not trying to yuck your yum. What I am saying, though, is I don't want you to get stuck under that sort of limitation as the default, like, perspective that you're having, because it's just not the truth. It's just not reality. Like, you truly can, even if you don't know how, that's not the point. You just need to always have faith and trust in yourself, in God, in whatever you need, to know that you will find a way, even if you don't know all the answers right now. No one knows the answers, all of them 100% right now. We all go with the seasons and we all move through it. Luckily, you've already found me because you're listening to this. You've made it this far into this episode, so you should know that I am here for you. So if you are having any sort of mindset blocks or anything that comes up during your work at all in the non-alc space, reach out to me, hello@marinamars.com, and I'm happy to help. So let's start to transition into talking about what you can expect from us in 2025. And first, though, let's talk about the non-alc market, then we'll talk about us. So, of course, for starters, the non-alc market is expected to continue its impressive growth, reaching a projected USD, what is this? Let's see. Looks like $2.8 trillion by 2035. That's crazy. That's more than double where we're at today. Functional beverages are definitely going to lead the charge. I remember when I first started saying this in the very beginning of the year, there were some people who literally got mad at me and were like, no, most people who are drinking in this industry, they're drinking alcohol analogs, they're drinking phony Negronis, they're drinking old fashions and Manhattans and martinis that are just zero proof. And I'm like, barf. I personally don't. I don't know a lot of people who do. What I've experienced in Kava bar world is entirely different. I don't know what the hell perception some of these people have, but to me, I don't think they're in the field living in reality. But there were some marketing companies in the beginning of 2024 that were claiming that was the case. Maybe that was true for 2023. I don't know. I don't care. I still don't think that was the case. But what I do know and what I think and what I have seen with my clients and in the field, functional beverages are absolutely leading the charge. And let me just say that I'm absolutely thrilled to see the industry finally leaning into this direction in multiple regards instead of just pushing these alc analogs, in my opinion, artificially. So no shade. Okay, maybe a little shade. We'll also see some exciting trends in the flavor landscape. I think brown sugar or more just legit sugars are going to be favored. White sugar is definitely and cane sugar, very preferred over artificial things. But I think brown sugar specifically, it has a special flavor, and it's viewed positively, and I want to play with it a lot. I keep seeing it more. So I think that's going to be a big thing. I think functional mushrooms are going to continue to be big. Edible flowers inside of mocktails, I think that's going to be huge. If it's not, everyone's missing out, and I am not crazy, I swear. Culinary-inspired cocktails are definitely blurring the line between mixology and the kitchen. We will likely see some more savory, herbaceous creations that redefine what a drink could be. Just a funny feeling I have. I think that there's going to be more protein-infused beverages. It's already a big deal. A lot of people like liquid meals. A lot of athletes, people who work out, love to have liquid protein for a post-workout to feed and nourish themselves. So there are other ways to do this. Again, mocktail, we are redefining, we are having fun with this category of liquid things that we ingest that are not alcohol, right? So I think that there's going to be a lot of super fun things happening here. And all of that being said, let's turn back inward again. What can you expect from us here at the Modern Mocktail and Mocktails with Marina in 2025? Well, first, let's talk numbers. I think it's very important to set goals, and we would love to help you set yours, by the way. So go ahead and check out our website, marinamars.com/themodernmocktail. You can go ahead and check out what live events we have. If we have this workshop live, if you are listening to this in the beginning of January, we do have a free vision board kind of workshop coming up. So if you want to talk about what you're doing and numbers, establishing that kind of thing, by the way, we have those kinds of resources for you. I believe very firmly in setting number goals. It helps us quantify our efforts, and that's something that's scalable. That's something that we can actually strategize and take away the scary risk factor. Risk is the thing that keeps you in fear if you don't have a good mindset and relationship with it. So one of the best ways to negate that fear is to take data by the horns and do something about it. So that being said, our goal is to help 250 more businesses start or expand their non-alc ventures. But instead of having that 295 customers number, we want to have at least 250 active clients inside of our programs. That is our goal for 2025. The reason is because we have spent a lot of time putting a lot of effort into these programs, and they are finally ready. All of the beta programs have completed all of the beta rounds. We've received the feedback. We have increased the quality of every program based on that feedback, and now we're ready to really just freaking launch and go in 2025. So this is super exciting. We're also going to add more AI integration teaching into our curriculums so that we can help you optimize your operations and make smarter, faster decisions. We're going to also have some leadership training. So we're going to be able to empower you to build more sustainable people-first teams. We're going to be launching 2 new programs in 2025. The first one being Bev Brand Builder. So whether you're starting a product line or buying a white label product, this course will guide you through the entire process from A to Z, including a list of contacts. So all of our modern mocktail partners to help you throughout the entire process, whether you need a formulator, a co-packer, a GMP consultant to make sure you are within regulation. We have you covered in that course. Another course we have coming up is Kavatender 101. So this is a one-of-a-kind server training program designed to teach staff everything they need to know before stepping behind a non-alc bar. So this is the kind of thing that you can actually send to your new hires right away before they even step foot onto their first shift, so that they're not completely in the dark. They understand what's going on at least a little bit, and then we can, kind of get them efficiently behind your bar, working a real shift within a month instead of spending 3 months training and figuring out what even the hell is going on with all of these different crazy ingredients we have going, all of the functional ingredients, the different culture, the different demographics that are hanging out in this space. It's definitely very different than a lot of people are used to. So there's a lot of things to consider here. Very excited about all of that. And of course, as always, meeting the new people who are entering our programs. And I want to mention, we do have an incredibly high retention rate because we have programs to help people build and grow throughout the stages of their entire brand, right? It takes years to get through these stages, very normal. So we have built, over the course of this past year, we have built all of the things that you need to know from the discovery phase through validation, through building, through optimizing, through scaling. We've got you covered, okay? So all of that being said, I want to wrap this up, okay? Of course, no year is without its challenges. In 2025, something that we can see being a challenge in some ways might be potential tariffs that were talked about. This could impact the availability of imported herbs, and regulations are always evolving. So just something we have to keep our eyes on, not necessarily the end of the world at all. I would not freak out about it. It's just something to navigate. And again, the more we can educate ourselves, the more empowered we are, the more confident we are, the more these things are not scary. They're just something to overcome, which again, we talk about all of these topics inside of our programs all the time. Go ahead and go to marinamars.com/themodernmocktail to learn a little bit more. But anyway, here's the thing. This is where we shine, okay? If you are ready to make 2025 your breakthrough year, you have got this. You are going to shine. Usually anywhere you run into an issue, anywhere that something seems a little bit challenging, usually in those moments we are shown what we are made of. And in that moment, we find a new strategy. We think of a new idea, a new way to approach something. And all of a sudden, everything becomes so much more clear, so much more well put together than it ever could have been. And you start to understand that, okay, certain regulations suck, absolutely, but others, they're actually put into place for a reason, to make sure that the public is being served something that doesn't hurt them. Don't they deserve that? Right? So before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this. The non-alc movement isn't just an industry, it's a revolution. The demand is there, but the supply and education are not. This is your moment to step into a gold rush that's just beginning to pop off. Let's work smarter, not harder. Let's create something that's abundant, impactful, and uniquely yours. Let our business and this podcast be a testament to show you anything is possible. Okay? This podcast, this microphone I'm speaking into, I'm pretty sure was under $50 on Amazon. I'm using the free version of a program to be recording the audio. My Libsyn.com membership, a subscription, is $15 a month, 20 maybe, and that's the thing that sends the podcast to all the different sites. And then I do put some ads on the podcast to get it out, but I never do more than $5 a day. So it's, times by 30, $150 a month, it's not like the most outrageous ad budget, right? So point of all this is like, there's not a lot to this. Like, this is something that, by the way, you don't have to have an ads budget at all. It just helps make it grow faster. And that's always nice, because then you get feedback on your work much more quickly. And I think that that's a little bit more motivating. So, and with that comes more opportunity. So it allowed us to be able to make more money. So the more you understand and learn about investing in yourself and your business, the more you see how quickly you can grow and how much you are hindering your own growth because you are afraid of investing in the right things to create that growth. And sometimes we don't see it until we hit a certain point, and that's okay. But let 2025 be the year that you see what you could not see so that you can overcome it and break through some glass ceilings. There's always going to be more. So we're always going to have this conversation every year, of course, but it hits different every year, right? Because we have different things that we're looking at. They have different flavors, they have different challenges, they have different feelings. And sometimes we just get to have a beautiful season of enjoyment of all of the work that we've put in, of all of the hard-earned efforts. Okay? So you are amazing. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year. If you need anything, you just let me know. Reach out. hello@marinamars.com.